You're going to hear in a couple of minutes Andrew McCabe's wonderful voice. He's such a honest, honorable man of integrity. And you're going to hear exactly why Andrew McCabe will turn and flip. He's already flipping and singing to a certain extent. But I'm going to explain really quickly all the different arguments or feuds that aren't being discussed. So everybody knows John Durham, appointed by William Barr, took down corrupt officials within the Boston FBI back in the day. He's known for taking down and indicting some really horrible people, especially people that work in the government. John Durham is not only working with William Barr, but he's also working with the current FBI, CIA, and ODNI officials, or Director of National Intelligence Dan Coates, Haspel, Christopher Wray, the whole mishpacha. They're all working together. Why? Because it was an overt setup. We all know this. If you watch this channel and you watch some great channels, by the way, big shout out and thank you so very much, Black Conservative Patriot, for referring my channel. I got something like 500 subs in the past, half a day. It's pretty amazing. So thank you very much. BCB's at 300,000+ subs. He needs to get to 1 million. So, and feel free to use any one of my videos, any one of my segments. I'm very honored that you used me in one of your segments recently, and I'm very honored about that. So Black Conservative Patriot, thank you. Usually when people use me, it's like a diss video or something. But I want to thank you so very much, and you have carte blanche. Feel free, any video you'd like, to please use me or publicize me. That would be an honor and appreciated. So thank you, Black Conservative Patriot, very, very much. And everyone subscribe to BCP. Get them to 1 million subs. Andrew McCabe and James Comey have a feud. Andrew McCabe leaked information. He's under criminal investigation for leaking information. James Comey alluded to the fact that he could testify against McCabe on CNN. He alluded to that fact. I'll read you about their feud in the Washington Post and the Daily Beast. So publications on the left, it's interesting. They're good publications of record that actually undermine their own propaganda spin. They just don't realize it because they have to actually report the news. So eventually they're reporting the news, and they don't realize that, hey, would it undermine the fact that the whole thing was a setup if McCabe says that he informed Comey of Uma Abedin's laptop emails with her husband, the aptly named you-know-what? And Comey says, no, I never heard. McCabe never told me anything about those emails that I had to write my letter 1 week before the election about. Then McCabe said, hey, you allowed me to leak information to the Wall Street Journal, to the New York Times. You allowed me to do that. James Comey allowed me to do that. No. James Comey said, I never allowed him to leak information. In fact, the Inspector General said, hey, you're under criminal investigation. Michael Horowitz under Jeff Sessions is hopefully not going to be the Michael Horowitz under William Barr. According to Joe DeGeneva, 3 of the 4 FISA warrants were obtained illegally, not lawful, illegal. The judges were not told of Steele dossier, the fact that it's not only unverified and nonsense, the fact that it was literally purchased by Madam Cyberhack Hillary Clinton. But then as a huge feud, John Durham is going to be working with, eventually, if he wants a plea deal or if he wants something, because he actually did lie under oath 3 times, according to the IG, with the intent to deceive Andrew McCabe. Michael Horowitz under Jeff Sessions made a point to say, gosh, it seems that Peter Strzok was biased. I mean, he tried to just sugarcoat everything, but the only person he came down hard on was McCabe. And Sessions, in a rare moment where he was actually doing something that, not undermining Trump, he McCabe was fired, and then he was under criminal investigation because of the IG report from Horowitz. Now nothing yet has come about. I believe, this is my viewpoint, that Andrew McCabe is one of the key central figures in all of this because he knows exactly what Rod Rosenstein did. According to the New York Times, Rosenstein tried to utilize the 25th Amendment by wiretap, by wearing a wire with Trump. Now, Rod Rosenstein is in good graces with Mueller and with William Barr and Trump because of the Mueller report. That is only because it's mutually beneficial, not because, or it helped President Trump that Rosenstein was there. I remember stating this. Rosenstein's only going to be there to give the image that everything's just fine. What happened was, it's not that Rosenstein was actually working. Like people say, well, oh, Mueller was a good thing. No, it was a horrible thing. But just like the Comey letter was part of a failed cover-up because Clinton transferred top secret and special access program intelligence outside of the United States government onto her basement servers. And they try to cover it up, but a week before the election, they realized, my God, she has even more emails outside of the U.S. government on Uma Abedin's laptop. What do we do? Okay, so just like that, Rod Rosenstein did not want to help Trump. Eventually, because there was nothing found and it was completely fabricated, he had to. He had to say, oh, well, everything's fine, He's the one who allowed the Comey memos to be used to start an unlawful Mueller probe. But Andrew McCabe knows why Comey wrote that letter. They knew about the Uma Abedin and Congressman Anthony Weiner's laptop and emails like 2 months or a month and a half prior. I'll read you, at least a month prior. McCabe says that Comey told him he could leak information, which Comey says, I never told him. Comey offered to be a witness on CNN. He said, gosh, a potential witness. McCabe knows what Rosenstein was up to. McCabe knows also what Brennan and Clapper were up to. He's the one person that is under criminal investigation right now. So, most of the past 7 minutes, I'm giving you the goods. And then, of course, later on, I'll veer off into my Hillary's running and maybe some impressions. And I understand it's annoying for some people. But, I have to be me, and I'm very passionate about, Clinton's eventually going to run. All of this was essentially to pave the way for Hillary Clinton to run again. But anyway, now they're saying, oh my God, if you read the Mueller probe, you'll realize there's collusion and obstruction. Wrong. If there was collusion and obstruction, Trump would have been charged with the statutes associated with those crimes. He was not. Neither was Trump Jr. Nobody was. Furthermore, they didn't decline to press charges against Trump because of a viewpoint that you don't indict a sitting president. Yes, you can. That is a lie, or that is, I guess, something that's not true, or a propaganda spin. Why did they investigate for 2 years if you can't indict a sitting president? What was the point? Just to go to Office Depot or Kinko's to get a report going? Who cares? If they had found any emails or any a check written to Russian hackers, they would have indicted Trump. They didn't find anything because everything was fabricated and purchased by Hillary Clinton. The Steele dossier was purchased by Clinton. The CrowdStrike, the third-party tech firm, was outsourced by Democrats. But Andrew McCabe knows why they utilized the Steele dossier. He knows everything that took place before Comey being let go. He knows everything that took place after Comey being let go. He knows Clapper's role. He knows Brennan's role. He knows Rosenstein's role. He knows Bruce Orr's and Nellie Orr's and Glenn Simpson and Fusion GPS. And he's the only person, and he knows why Mueller did not interview Natalia Veselnitskaya, and he knows why Mueller did not interview Joseph Mifsud. Now, all William Barr has to do is simply say, look, you are under criminal investigation. We cannot do anything ever again with the origins of the Russia probe, and you'd still be under criminal investigation. He is up the creek now, without a paddle. He's the one person who's not only stands the most, risks the most at this very moment, but he's also a person who could flip and sing easier than anyone else. I mean, with Rosenstein, you have somebody who's flipping and singing, sure, but he's not under the threat of criminal investigation. So who knows how much he'll divulge? Hopefully a great deal. Probably a great deal. McCabe is a key and central figure in all of this, I believe. McCabe not only started a probe into Jeff Sessions, he started a probe into Trump, a new one after Comey was let go. We'll read about that in a second. But here, this is really interesting. Comey and McCabe, once strong defenders of each other, stake out positions in burgeoning feud. National Security, Washington Post. Matt Zapotosky, April 20th, 2018. Former FBI Director James Comey and his top deputy Andrew McCabe once seemed to enjoy the kind of bond that could be forged only by going to battle together. They didn't go to battle together. When President Trump unceremoniously fired Comey from the Bureau, who cares? They made such a big deal about that. The guy was so corrupt. The IG report said he was insubordinate, broke protocol. And if you do that in any job, you're done. Now, though, the once venerated G-men seem at odds. Once venerated by whom? Not by anyone with a brain. And some worry that their public dispute threatens to tarnish the institution they once served. Don't worry, Comey already did that, so did McCabe. On Friday, so one thing here, McCabe's wife was given hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars from Terry McAuliffe and Democratic PACs. That's another way Clinton's, Madam Cyberhack's lovely tentacles reach out into every sphere of influence possible. He didn't recuse himself from the Clinton email investigation. Gee, I wonder why. He didn't recuse himself until like a week before the election. So on Friday, Michael Bromwich, McCabe's lawyer, said that McCabe, who once looked up to Jim Comey, was very upset and disappointed at seeing his former boss talk about him on TV. Gee, you think? Andrew McCabe knows that he's a doormat at this moment, that James Comey is going to basically try to step all over him. All of them will. This is like a criminal, like a small-time crew, criminal, like, you know, a bunch of criminals who tried to rob a bank, but didn't even, you know, the GPS took them to the police station. This is like, I mean, this is, you know, everything that could go bad for these people is going bad right now. And they're all going to flip and sing on each other. It's just a matter of everything they said about, Manafort and Flynn and Papadopoulos and all that stuff. Well, Papadopoulos and Flynn were set up. They were set up and framed, just like President Trump was framed. With Comey and Strzok and McCabe and Brennan and Clapper and all the rest, they actually engaged in criminal acts. It is a criminal act to deceive FISA judges. It is a criminal act to leak information that's classified. And that's exactly what, for a political purpose. There's nothing to do with benefiting the country. And that's exactly what James Comey did. It's a criminal act to lie under oath numerous times, which is what Andrew McCabe did. The comments came a day after Comey, who, in the midst of a public tour to promote his book, said on CNN he could well be a witness against McCabe if McCabe were ever charged and tried for misleading investigators about his role in a media disclosure. I am going to put that below in the description section. I usually say that, and I don't, but I am going to put that below in the description section right now. You will see that below in the description section. That is very, very important. What did I just say? Comey actually went there. He actually went there and said, I can, if you want me to testify, I will against McCabe. He actually went there. He actually went there. And it's It makes perfect sense that these people would turn on each other. One of the most important things in life, ladies and gentlemen, one of the most important things in life is to ensure that you surround yourself with good people. And if you don't surround yourself with good people, then you are at risk of being taken down by just really horrible bad people. If you do not surround yourself with good people, you're at risk of the faults and the stupidity and the lack of judgment of people around you to then influence the future of your life. Obviously, if you're a criminal, now you can be a criminal. Most law enforcement are great people. Most cops are great people. Most FBI agents are, at least good people who want to abide by the law. But if you're a criminal, whether you're hanging out in an alley someplace or whether you have a shiny, nice desk at the FBI, you're still a criminal. That's it. That's all you are, and that's all you'll ever be. Okay? If you're a criminal, it doesn't matter if you are an exalted politician or FBI agent or it's just somebody in a back alley selling drugs. You're committing crimes, and you're doing so for whatever reason, power, money, fame, whatever. There's no difference between Andrew McCabe and James Comey and, somebody who, robs a TV from, a Best Buy or whatever. In fact, the guy who robs the TV is far less of a threat to the country than people like Comey and Strzok and McCabe and all of them. So, you're looking at really, really, really dangerous individuals who just don't mind utilizing their power. Power, by the way, given to them by the people of this country. That's also what makes this so insidious. They took the power given to them by American citizens only because American citizens, just like Hobbes and Leviathan, Thomas Hobbes wrote Leviathan, where society has basically a contract or a tacit agreement with the government. You protect us and we'll have to deal with this, monster. The FBI is there to protect this country. It's not there to fabricate investigations. Once you start fabricating investigations, once you start framing people, once you start acting like Comey and Strzok and McCabe and all of them saying, we will stop Trump, honey, which is what... and then Strzok, which is what Strzok said. Peter Strzok served under Andrew McCabe. Peter Strzok served under Andrew McCabe when all of this was going down, when he was the number 2 and when he was the complete FBI director. And Strzok left the FBI after Comey left the FBI. So and then you have, one other issue is you have Andrew McCabe, who can give all the information needed to indict Strzok. All you need is Andrew McCabe saying, yeah, Peter Strzok, those text messages were actually his obvious motive in investigating Trump and everyone around Trump. There's a reason they found nothing. There's a reason that McCabe is under criminal investigation. And all that John Durham has to do is simply speak to Andrew McCabe even before everyone else. They have to and eventually say, look, we're going to indict you, or indict the guy, and then say, hey, you want a plea deal? Let's do business. We have all this information. And that's, I think, what they're going to do. Andrew McCabe is in a world of political turmoil and hurt. Legal also, mainly legal. The comments came a day after Comey, who's in the midst of a publicity tour to promote his book, said on CNN he could well be a witness against McCabe if McCabe were ever charged and tried for misleading investigators about his role in a media disclosure. He went on CNN, and the link is below in the description section. This is one of the foundations of the future indictments of Comey, Strzok, McCabe, and all of them that I talk about in my Federalist article. The 18371 statute. At issue is what Comey, when about his role in authorizing the disclosure of information to Wall Street Journal reporter Devlin Barrett, who is now at the Washington Post. Look, do not speak to journalists, especially if you have either classified or any information around, just don't speak to journalists, especially if you're corrupt FBI officials. It might not even be the fault of this Wall Street Journal reporter, but at the same time, it's really hilarious. The FBI was speaking to reporters all the time to foment this hysteria. And then, of course, it backfired with McCabe. Barrett wrote on October 30th, 2016, a story about two of the FBI's most high-profile investigations, the probe of Hillary Clinton's private email server, and a case involving the Clinton Foundation. The story, which McCabe authorized two FBI officials to participate in anonymously, revealed the existence of the Clinton Foundation probe, in part by detailing a call between McCabe and Justice Department officials over whether and in what form the investigation should be allowed to continue. The left says, well, you see, this is above board. Oh, so they were investigating the Clinton Foundation. Oh, yeah, such a big conspiracy against Trump. Well, no. There should have been indictments already in the Clinton Foundation. Just because there's overt criminal activity that they're finally addressing doesn't mean that they've addressed the issue. Okay? Just because, the same thing goes with the nonsensical narrative. Just because Durham was assigned by Sessions to investigate James Baker, that doesn't mean that's the same thing as actually William Barr utilizing John Durham as the top prosecutor, as opposed to Huber, who's golfing at this very moment with Mitt Romney, most likely. Just because you fall into doing something that you should do doesn't mean that you haven't been engaged in criminal or unethical activity the whole time. Comey told investigators McCabe led him to believe he had no role in authorizing that disclosure when, in fact, he did. The former FBI director repeated that claim on NPR, saying he was quite confident in particular that McCabe did not tell him after the Journal story had published of his role in it. Comey has said he authorized an investigation of leaks that ultimately led to McCabe. Comey said, you'll find this also. Comey said he authorized an investigation of leaks that ultimately led to McCabe. James Comey investigated McCabe. See, the Washington Post is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic when you need a good laugh. When you need a good laugh, it is absolutely hilarious. But, I mean, you have James Comey of all people, investigating his buddy. This is just unbelievable. This is just hilarious. This is great. Really great. I mean, really great. So, I mean, this is, really the... Not only are they going to turn against each other, but they know everything about each other. And they know everything about everyone else. So John Durham, all he needs to do is just talk to Andrew McCabe. That's all he needs to do. That is all he needs to do. Let's listen to McCabe right now. This is when things were a lot better. Comey was just let go, and he was just Congress is asking him, well, this is in May 12th, 2017, 2 years ago. Almost 2 years ago, 2 years and 3 days ago. And it's 2 years and 3 days ago, and not only are we talking about McCabe, we're talking about all of them going to jail. And we'll be talking about this 2 years from now in 2021 when it all goes down. When Clinton runs and she loses. It's all going down for sure. It could even happen prior to her running and losing. But let's listen to this.
No, sir, that is not accurate. I can tell you, sir, that I worked very, very closely with Director Comey from the moment he started at the FBI. I was his executive assistant director of national security at that time. I then worked for him running the Washington field office. And of course, I've served as deputy for the last year. I can tell you that I hold Director Comey in the absolute highest regard.
We can go on forever, but you see how cutthroat these people are. They've worked with each other forever. Oh my God. And now Comey's like, yeah, I can, what's the exact quote? I'll tell you right now. He could well be a witness against McCabe if McCabe were ever charged and tried for misleading investigators. And then the hilarious part is Comey said he authorized an investigation of leaks that ultimately led to McCabe. Oh my God, this is too good. So the Washington Post link is here. But here, James Comey interviewed an Andrew McCabe probe, Daily Beast. Investigators at the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Columbia have interviewed former FBI Director James Comey as part of a probe into former FBI Director Andrew McCabe. The investigation is attempting to determine whether McCabe lied to federal agents about, quote, authorizing a disclosure to media. And an interview with Comey suggests that the, quote, office is seriously considering whether McCabe should be charged with a crime. Well, of course. Justice Department Inspector General Michael Horowitz accused McCabe of misleading investigators and Comey 4 times about a leak, 3 times under oath. To the Wall Street Journal about him, quote, standing in the way of a probe of Hillary Clinton's foundation. Investigators and Comey 4 times a leak about him standing in the way of Comey standing in the way. Oh my God! So they're turning on each other left and right. They've always been. Horowitz then passed the case to the U.S. Attorney's Office to determine whether crimes were committed. Well, we're waiting, and we finally have William Barr. I mean, James Baker, the top FBI legal counsel, and and McCabe, just in terms of chronology, have to be the first 2 indicted in all of this, and then Comey, Strzok, McCabe, Clapper. Then, of course, McCabe's lawyers are confident the U.S. Attorney's Office would not prosecute unless there is inappropriate pressure from high levels of administration. Of course, it couldn't be that he lied under oath. And specifically, not just lied under oath about an email in a month, like, they say Papadopoulos lied under oath. No, he didn't. This is an actual lie under oath. You're talking about Comey and his role in the FBI that stating, oh yeah, I didn't let you leak information. Oh yes, you did let me leak information. So, and then, they don't, media like the left, the CNN, MSNBC, they think that if they don't cover it, it ain't happening. But that's not the case. That's not the case. There's a reason this is all happening. There's a reason they found nothing with Trump. There's a reason this is all happening, and there's a reason they found nothing with Trump. By the way, to my wonderful subscribers who are veterans, thank you so very much. God bless you, and thank you for your service. To all the veterans who watch my channel, thank you. And I have a really wonderful gentleman, a veteran of Desert Storm, and thank you. And I took a screenshot of the. It was a really beautiful message, the comment that he wrote. And let's see if I can. I just want to thank this gentleman. Gosh, where is this? I can't find it right now, but thank you so very much to everyone, to all the people who just watch this channel and say the most kind words. I just want to thank you. You know what? I will find the message and thank the individual. But just thank you so very much for just the kind words, and to all the veterans and active duty soldiers as well who watch this, because I'm very honored. I do know that there are active duty soldiers who watch my channel. I just thank you very much. It's happening, ladies and gentlemen. And especially, you have these people these people just leaking classified intelligence, classified data. If that happened to somebody in the military, if you're in the military, or if you're a veteran, what would happen to you? I mean, you have not just Hillary Clinton. You have, with top secret and SAP intel. What would happen if you just put SAP intel on your own server? If you're a veteran, or if you are a soldier, tell me what would happen to you? What would happen to you? But I mean, they're just getting away with it. Seems like, S. John, thank you so very much. Desert Shield and Desert Storm, thank you, and God bless you. Thank you for your service to this country. Thank you for the kind message. S. John, thank you so very much. Hillary is going to run again, and I know that it is annoying for me to keep saying, but I waited until 25 minutes into this. No, 31 minutes. She is running again. And she doesn't have to actually. In fact, one of the Wall Street Journal articles says she can actually come in after Iowa, which I don't think she'll come in after Iowa. I really don't think she'll come in after Iowa. I think she'll come in before November. Bubba Bill came in October. He came in October of 1991. So she has time. Now there's an investigation of Joe Biden. So, regarding the Ukraine fiasco. So, I just don't see. It's kind of like they have 20 or so people running. All but one are viable. Bernie Sanders isn't even up in New Hampshire, and his lead among young voters is down drastically. The pundits on the left that have taken over Bernie's movement, which is now a bowel movement, completely obliterated whatever was the allure of Bernie Sanders' campaign, which it wasn't just a single issue like Medicare for All, which they're not voting on. Now we're finding out that these people, the same people who promoted this nonsense, like I've been saying for a long time, engaged in criminal activity. The day it happened, I said it was nonsense, and you can see that in the pinned comment. You can also see when I say that a whole bunch of things, and they happened. I said Clinton would lose, and she did. But all of this, the context you need to remember is that Hillary Clinton is running again. Why? Because there is no Democratic Party. There is no Democratic Party. It is merged with corrupt intel officials that are now in hot water, and the media. The media used to be somewhat objective. No longer. Now it's just an extension of the DNC, and for the media and the Democratic Party to promote this myth and this hoax for 2 years, of course they're not going to talk about what I spoke about, what I'm speaking of in this segment. Of course they're not going to talk about how McCabe is one of the keys to all of this. They're not going to talk about how McCabe is under criminal investigation, not for lying about not for a procedural crime. Oh, you lied to the FBI about something that has nothing to do with Trump. No, this has directly to do with Clinton. His wife received hundreds of thousands of dollars. He then lied because of that, with the intent to deceive. Because he wanted to make himself seem tough on the Clinton Foundation and tough on the Clintons, even though of course he wasn't. But there was the notion that he was compromised, which of course he was, because his wife received hundreds of thousands of dollars from Terry McAuliffe. If the reverse were true, they would never allow an FBI agent to investigate Clinton, whose wife had received hundreds of thousands of dollars from Trump, or anyone associated with Trump, or his foundations, or whatever. But if it's Clinton, no problem. All of this is to pave the way for Clinton. That will eventually be the understanding that everyone comes to when she decides to run, and she will run. They're not going to go with Biden. You think Biden can win Florida and the Midwest, even though he's from there? People know his shtick is like old and tired and played out. There's only so much sniffing of hair that you can, get away with before people say, "Why are you doing this?" Now, this is beyond even something that's very bizarre. What's wrong with you? Why are you sniffing people's hair? Why are you doing this? Are you like a basset hound or something? Why are you doing this? So, anyway, give me your thoughts below. Definitely subscribe to Nick DiPaolo. Oh my God, I need my daily dose of Nick DiPaolo every day. In addition to Black Conservative Patriot, he's amazing. Nick DiPaolo is hilarious. I'm talking old school comedy. Very different, obviously, very different from Dave Chappelle, but I mean the Dave Chappelle, that Nick DiPaolo, different comedians, different comedy, but old school. You laugh. When's the last time you laughed hard at Saturday Night Live or Trevor Noah or any, Seth Meyers? I mean, it's not comedy. John Oliver's funny sometimes, but even it's like mainly petulant. John Oliver's, there's nothing compared. Like, Nick DiPaolo is hilarious, and you're like, that the laughter is from within. Old school comedians, they don't care about being politically correct. So because of that, there's this beauty where you just laugh so hard. You're not worried about, the nonsense. Like, this Twitter outrage baloney is recent. Life used to exist prior to Twitter. I got off Twitter. I'm like, this is, not healthy. Anyway, hit subscribe right now. Definitely hit subscribe to Nick DiPaolo. Subscribe to Black Conservative Patriot. You know the link. He's at 300,000+. When he gets to 1 million, and he will, it's a very important voice. BCP is a very important voice, especially what he does. He's one of those voices and channels that really counters the misinformation from the left. So his channel is very important. His voice is very important. What he does with the editing is amazing. Black Conservative Patriot. And thank you again for the shout out. Really appreciate it. And like I said, help me with subs. It was awesome. Give me your thoughts. To my Patreons and to people who want to support my voice long term. Hey, the best thing you can do is watch my channel and tell people to sub. But if you want to support my voice long term, if you can, any amount is greatly appreciated, and that is below in the pinned comment, my Patreon link. Thank you so very, very, very much.